So I decided to go ahead and go with the battery box. Now, I also put a strap on here, and the strap goes to a couple of anchors on the right and the left. But what I used was some of these at one side and the other. They're cheap. They're from Harbor Freight. This is from Harbor Freight. I think I paid like $7 for everything all together. Anyway, so if you unzip it, all my lithium batteries. Here, I've been doing some repair work, and I've also been trying to label everything. And I'm gonna label all of them with a little label maker I bought for like $9 from somebody. This is my connection for my my solar. This is my solar controller, which right now should show the batteries are probably somewhere around, oh, I don't know, 13. Yeah, 13.2. Fridge has been running for a while, just testing it out. Over here, my Max Pro has been working. Power Max, don't go 8. This is to kind of like put a couple of multimeters, put one here, and what you're doing is you're just kind of testing to see if it's giving you about 14.5, 14.4. And I have this set to 13.9. You know what? I don't have to go high. It really makes your lithium last a lot longer. And I also have a BMS that is attached to it. Try that again one more time. There we go. All right, so just to let you know, there we go. That'll hold that battery box down. And I've I've cut out holes for the 2-gauge wire. Sorry, 2-gauge wire that goes into there. 2-gauge wire that goes in there. Because those suckers got really high if you go underneath about 4-gauge. This thing is amazing, by the way. If you have a Power Max, I bought this used, but it is a, let's see, that model there. Holy cow, that thing just charges the battery faster than anything. If you ever find these things, I don't know where this came from. This guy had these things, and they're really impressive. It lights up the whole area, but these little magnet ones you get from a dollar store. Cleaned up the power a little bit, tried to organize it a little bit, you know, zip ties, putting the sheath around it all the way to the back, so that goes all the way back there. Underneath here is a bonus charger in case my Max Pro goes out. I'm gonna probably put that in some sort of box or something. See that crazy 110 cable? It's like 3 cables. That is the AC unit. Okay, nice. See everything. There's the power. There's my heat, and as you can tell, there's the heat. It'll shoot out towards my kid. And then there's one underneath our bed. Galvanized steel piece that I put right here, and then I put like that onto this part right here and cornered it over. And then this is right here, as you can tell, it's pretty snug in with washer. Let's see. I went with the install of the power cable that I can just shove through. Yeah, I know everybody has the like snap-on ones, but it doesn't work as well for me. Yeah.
So here I am trying to work on the rock guard. Got to get that thing up. Getting the measurements was interesting because it didn't have them before. So I used a new scientific method called having another Scamp that just happened to have them. Now I'm not sure if it really matched up perfectly. I had just brought it back for selling it. And anyway, you know, I still was having to put it up against the window and then, you know, mark it off with blue tape and then mark off the center points. Here's me putting butyl tape on one of the hooks where it was just, you know, connected to the body of the Scamp. You want to make sure it's weatherproofed. And here's me testing this right size of rivet. Can't remember the exact size. I think I have it later. The boxes that I used. Once again, one of those chalk markers are really good for marking off holes. Here's me hanging the top part. And here's my second scientific method of using the bottom trim to try to find out where the center is. Then going from there and putting the bottom latches on. Now the bottom latches are pretty important because that, like, you know, that's what pulls it down and uses tension. Well, one of mine was a little loose, and found out about it on the road on our first trip. Here's where I put the gas line in. It was at the bottom. I was putting it behind the tongue box, and it fit pretty good. Had a time finding the right part. Here's where it comes in under the cubby, under the bunks.
Bulkhead secured. And I trimmed the side of this, and I'm just gonna put the rubber around it.
And just use cardboard for the template, of course. Anyhow, I think the modification of a tag tongue box on a Scamp worked.
So Scamp uses a lot of wing nuts in these things. So they're not perfect, but they are something you can figure out, like work your way back and repair. So right now I have some lights and they are not working, yet I have two lights that are working. Okay, the good thing is I just gotta follow the positive or the negative, the ground, whatever you want to call it. So I looked underneath here and I haven't really gotten all this like cleanly done together. I've just kind of right now worked it through, but I went, what's missing? Well, there it is. See this? By the way, this is DC power. DC power is, for the most part, a lot safer than AC power. Like it'll zap you pretty good if it was AC. So what am I missing? The opposite side of a negative. Now, this white, mind you, is from when Scamp put this in. I've made all my negatives black. Go ahead and put this on there. Just, it's hard to do this on the camera. Well, you know, I got lights. Alright, so a wing nut popped off. It was only due to the fact that I've been trying to kind of like fool around with all this and make it look cleaner. Now, cleaner, those wires are all over the place, right? A little cleaner is that right there. The wires are all nice and together, and I use Velcro strips to kind of like put them together. I don't use like zip ties because then you have to snap them apart if you have to fix anything. It's so easy to figure out what the problem is. Just wind one of these up and then boom, you're good to go. Are they perfect? No. There must be something to it. Man, look at all the dust in this room. Good night. All right, bye. Whew. A little bit close.
Now that bamboo is from the countertops. Now here's me doing the curtains next.
Well, the sad thing is you can't see this thing nice and clean, but I'm putting curtains in now. So they're like a board like this. This is one of the few things I actually outsourced. Is I shouldn't say I, my wife did. She found somebody that could do some curtain action. So anyway, it's a dowel at the bottom, and it's like a wood thing at the bottom of a loop. And then she did the sewing of it. It turned out pretty okay. There's a microphone for this one. So I had to find a fan that could actually go. So what I needed was a fan that could actually go low enough to still clear. But I couldn't find one, obviously. I have about 3 inches of clearance, or 3.5. This, I could see, I could tack in the flange off the top. So what I did was, I took it off. I'm gonna put it in, and I should be able to still pull it out, and then it's a piece that can be put in pretty simple.
This was just placed in the 14x14 vent that's up there. Now don't get me wrong, I was sweating it. I knew this thing was gonna be close. Taking the vent lid off. And you could tell it was like a 1/4 inch to spare, maybe. Let's just say I held my breath.
So I'm putting this. Okay, so from like leftover elephant skin that I sliced off of the AC that I cut out. This stuff is like gold anyway. I've put some tape on the back of it. I'm gonna try to cover up this. We'll see how well it works. I just need to paint it and fix that one little spot right there.
little Dynaflex on there. And now to colorize it. I should mention that this is actually months later, me covering this up. For a while, I just had the knifed in cables. Now, to be honest, this happened probably months later. I'm just sticking it in here because it kind of goes along with the vibe of putting the vent in. The other part was trying to make sure that the vent was done in time for camping. And I had to do it in one day because this is our very next day camping, or maybe it was the same exact day, I can't remember. Anyhow, thanks for watching this. If you're on for this long, this will fade tonight. This is Lake Granby, if I'm not mistaken. First time taking Blueberry the Second out. Inaugural trip. Later.